Hello again. If this is your first time visiting my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and please share it. And thank you to everyone else for liking and subscribing to my channel. In my last video, I went through Game Turn 2 for the Battle of Las Casas, Mexico, a fictional battle set just after the Battle of the Alamo. And I used the game system I developed and its mechanics. What was determined is that Patrick Harrison of the Texan posse became activated under the leader of Jimmy Baxter on the northeast side of the town. And in my first video, I gave the backstory to the character Bill Baxter and his Texan posse, who are trying to capture or kill Mexican General Luis de la Garza, who was gathered in town with his Mexican army. And I gave the values to each of the characters and units. I had completed one game turn following the sequence of play, leaving off with the Mexican Army C being activated at their deployment position, but unable to receive any orders from their leader, General Luis de la Garza, because his card had not been drawn. But to save time and redundancy during the activation phase, I decided to do this already so that orders can be given and action taken for each side. However, after the Texan posse had won the initiative, to my surprise, what was immediately determined was when I drew Bill Baxter's game card. And since he is the leader for the Texan posse, the Texans became activated with him. And they are George Davis, Andy Stevenson, and Floyd Patterson. Bill Baxter did not need to make a morale roll to pass his activation because his quality rating is +2, and all morale levels begin at 10. Therefore, with a morale roll on 2d6, which must be equal to or less than the current morale number, he became automatically activated, and his unit. However, Jimmy Baxter, the younger brother to Bill and leader of the group of Texans on the northeast side of town, is still not activated. So in this video, I will continue with the Game Turn 3 following the sequence of play, but issuing orders for Bill Baxter now that he and his group of Texans are activated. The next step is the weather roll for this game turn, made by rolling 2d6 against the weather chart. This weather type modifier will be applied to this game turn. We are using the month of March since the Battle of the Alamo took place on March 6, 1836, and this battle happens shortly after that. This is a roll on 2d6. This is a 9. A 9 indicates clear weather for this game turn, which there is no modifier. Since there is no commander for this battle, the leader issues the number of orders given his command number, which was determined for Bill Baxter to be 3. The next step is for the leaders to relay the commander's orders. But again, since there is no commander for this battle, whoever the leader's order is directed to must pass a morale check by making a roll on 2d6 that must be equal to or less than their current morale number to take any action. And they must use their leader qualities rating as a modifier. A morale check is made by rolling 2d6 equal to or less than the character's or unit's morale number. Every character and unit's morale number begins at 10 and drops 1 point for every 10% of injuries or casualties. However, if the leader's game card had been chosen and passes the morale check, then their entire unit is activated. Bill Baxter has decided to issue 3 run movement orders to each of his Texans. And again, because his quality rating is +2 and all morale levels begin at 10, these morale checks automatically pass, and each Texan under Bill can take action with his run movement orders. And because they are all activated under Bill Baxter, they are considered activated throughout the game. However, they still have to make morale check rolls to receive orders and take action. These are the positions for Bill Baxter and his group of Texans: George Davis, Andy Stevenson, and Floyd Patterson. They are not populated right now, but because they become activated, they will soon be populated. These are the Texans under Bill Baxter who are now activated.
Howdy, partner!
And they are, from left to right, George Davis, Andy Stevenson, and Floyd Patterson, with Bill Baxter leading the group of Texans. Bill Baxter has issued 3 run movement orders to move against the Mexican Army Unit A because they are not activated. However, if any Texans fire at one of the Mexican soldiers, then the soldiers can return fire because all firing is simultaneous in my game system. Now we will make 3 run movement die rolls using 2d6 for Bill Baxter and the Texans with him. However, there are modifiers to their run movement to be made. Because they are on the outskirts of the town, this is considered to be medium terrain, which carries a movement modifier of -3 to the die roll of 2d6. First, we will roll for George Davis's 3 run movement orders. Each one will be made on 2d6 -3 for the medium terrain modifier, which will be made in inches. His first run movement die roll is 9, with a -3 is 6. His second run die movement roll is 7, with a -3 is 4. His third run movement die roll is 7, with a -3 of 4 again. Therefore, George Davis's total movement is 14 inches. After measuring, George Davis has moved here. Now we will make 3 run movement orders for Andy Stevenson. His first run movement die roll is 6, with a -3 is 3. His second run movement die roll is 11, with a -3 is 8. His third run movement die roll is 5, with a -3 is 2. Therefore, Andy Stevenson's total movement is 13 inches. After measuring, Andy Stevenson has moved here, just behind George Davis. Next, we will make a 3 run movement order for Floyd Patterson. His first run movement die roll is 9, with a -3 is 6. His second run movement die roll is 9, with a -3 is 6. His third run movement die roll is 8, with a -3 is 5. Therefore, Floyd Patterson's total movement is 17 inches. Floyd Patterson, the oldest of the group, has moved here, just ahead of George Davis and Andy Stevenson. Finally, we will roll for the leader, Bill Baxter. His first run movement die roll is 8, with a -3 is 5. His second run movement die roll is 3, with a -3 is 0. His third run movement die roll is 8, with a -3 is 5. Therefore, Bill Baxter's total movement is 10 inches. Finally, Bill Baxter, the leader of the Texans, has moved just behind the group. So now Bill Baxter and his Texans have moved in the vicinity of Mexican Army Unit A, who have not been activated yet. Once they become activated, it could be very dangerous for Bill Baxter and his group of Texans. Even though Patrick Harrison has been activated and is visible to the Mexican Army Unit C on the northeast side of town opposite Bill Baxter and his group of Texans, because the Texan posse had won the initiative the last game turn, the Mexican Army Unit C could not take any action unless fired upon, and Patrick Harrison cannot act because his leader, Jimmy Baxter, has yet to be activated. As leaders become activated, they can start issuing orders. But until then, characters and units are only being populated. But what makes it so exciting is you never know which leader will become activated first, which can dramatically change the circumstances of a battle even before it begins. If Mexican Army General Luis de la Garza's game card is drawn and he is activated, his entire Mexican army becomes activated and can receive orders. This means not only does Texan posse member Patrick Harrison becomes vulnerable to Mexican Army Unit C, but so does Bill Baxter and his group of Texans on the opposite side of town. However, suppose Texan leader Jimmy Baxter's game card is drawn, and he becomes activated with the rest of his Texans. Both Texan leaders can issue orders in that case, since the Texan posse would have won the initiative. This means that Bill Baxter can continue moving about the town without being impeded. However, Jimmy Baxter and his group of Texans are now in the vicinity of activated Mexican Army Unit C. So what will happen next? This concludes this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the subscribe button below. And please be sure to share it. You don't want to miss the following videos as the game turns to play out for the Battle of Las Casas, Mexico.